America needs a strong, stable, and prosperous Canada. They are the #1 purchaser of American exports, 18%, and 14% of all of our imports come from Canada, so they have the #3 spot. Over 60% of all American oil imports come from Canada. Not only do we rely on Canada for energy, but we also get a lot of our steel and aluminum from them for our high-grade industrial equipment. $2.5 billion cross the U.S. Canada border every single day, so that's almost $1 trillion a year. They're a crucial NATO ally and one of America's staunchest supporters whenever we need peacekeeping missions sent in. For those of you who don't know what NORAD is, it's just defending all of North American airspace, and they are one of the key components of that, along with the United States military. And for those of you who may laugh at the Canadian military, remember, the Geneva Conventions was made because of what the Canadians did to the Germans in World War I. And just remember, the United States tried to invade them a lot in 1812, and we couldn't do it. So don't piss them off. All right, the Geneva Conventions thing wasn't because of Canada. That actually started in 1864, but the Canadians were known for their ferocity and harsh treatment of prisoners. Either way, Canada is extremely important to the United States, which is why Justin Trudeau's resignation is such a big deal. Trudeau was the Canadian golden boy. People thought he was just going to come in and fix everything, especially because his father was also a prime minister. And I'm not going to lie, in 2015 when he came to power, I thought he was going to start cleaning things up, but no. Trudeau definitely succeeded in the very beginning by pandering to the masses, attacking Donald Trump. I mean, his approval rating when he started was at 63%. Eventually, it dropped to below 30% several times in 2024 and earlier last year. He passed some controversial but progressive laws that could be considered good or bad. There was at least debatable wiggle room, like legalizing voluntary assisted dying, legalizing recreational cannabis, and of course, he apologized to the Indigenous Canadians for the history of abuse at the hands of just the Canadian system. But this was all cosmetic lip service just to appease his base, but he didn't really do anything that showed fiscal responsibility to help repair the Canadian economy. He was careless with immigration, and he was also careless with all the money printing and borrowing that took place during COVID. And while America complains rightly that things are getting too expensive, especially with groceries and even just basic housing, the Canadians are going through something far worse. More than 70% of Canadians polled think that the country is broken under Trudeau. Overall, it's clear that Trudeau knows how to do a lot of PR stuff, but when it comes to running a country, he just failed, and he rode in on a ticket of a failed Conservative Party before him. We're looking at a chart of Canada's GDP from the 80s to today, and you could see there was the 2008 recession. Okay, they took a little bit of a nosedive, and then the economy started to recover quite well until 2013, something happened. In the same time, Canada's currency, the Canadian dollar, also took a nosedive. Unfortunately, America's to blame. It's not because America did anything bad, it's just we hit the shale boom and we started becoming one of the world's largest producers of oil. I'm just comparing the chart of American oil production and Canada's GDP, and look, once America's oil production reached the threshold of about 7 to 8 million barrels a day, the Canadian economy tanked. And the reason why is that as America started to produce more of its own oil, the price of oil dropped to below $50 a barrel at one point. Oil became so cheap that Canada couldn't profit off of its sales to America and other parts of the world anymore. It was at this time during Canada's oil crash that the Conservatives were in power. So here comes Trudeau, very good looking, very charming and charismatic and intelligent, who just knew exactly how to stick it to the Conservatives, blame them, and just pandered to the masses, and he got in. Now it looks like Canada's GDP is headed towards another downturn. The matter was made even worse in Justin Trudeau's response to Trump's threat of tariffs against the country of Canada. And Trudeau, instead of trying to respond in a measured and fiscally responsible way, also maybe a bit more diplomatic, he just said, okay, well, we will start banning U.S. imports, we will limit the amount of oil you can buy from us, and we're going to open a whole bunch of other retaliatory tariffs. Canada's economy is already struggling, and Trudeau's just bravado in pandering to his masses instead of actually trying to pursue a solution outraged the finance minister, so she just resigned a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's bad. That is a vote of no confidence from his inner staff. And of course, the Conservative Party, led by Pierre Poilievre, is going after this. While Trudeau is stepping down, he will still be the prime minister until his party can select someone to take his place. And whoever that replacement is will have to go against Pierre Poilievre, who seems to be garnering a lot of national sentiment. People are calling Poilievre the Canadian Trump, but I don't think that's so accurate because he is a bit more polished. He is a distinguished politician, and he's been in the game for well over a decade. Trump seems more protectionist, but Poilievre seems to be more about free trade. For now, while it looks like Canada is heading towards the rightward political direction along with the United States, we don't know if everything is going to be chummy between these two countries yet, because again, Poilievre is a bit stubborn and he is a Canada first kind of guy. While it does look like Poilievre and Trump have similar ideologies, Poilievre was furious with Trudeau for acquiescing to Trump in 2018 with renewing NAFTA. Even if President-elect Trump and Poilievre do have some kind of a strained relationship, if Poilievre can balance the Canadian economy, that will help both of us out. So there's a lot up in the air going on in Canada right now, and we should keep our eyes onto what direction Canada is going to take. I'm the Geo Hussar. If you want to see my supplemental post on economics, you know where to go. Thanks for watching.